Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of the Redzone Rewind, where we look at everything and all NFL here on this show. I'm Jake Schulz.
I'm Zulfi Sheikh.
And let's get right into the action, shall we? Week 1 of the NFL has come and gone. Some breaking news at the time of this recording. Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the New York Jets, the much talked about New York Jets this year, injured and out for the season with an Achilles tear. Just an absolute stunner for New York Jets fans as their franchise quarterback, or the new franchise quarterback, goes out in just 4 snaps. This comes on the heels of a very interesting Buffalo Bills and New York Jets game. All the talk is about quarterback play, and that has been a recurring theme for this week. Rust in droves. Zulfi, what stood out to you the most in terms of quarterback play this week?
Yeah, like you said it, there's a lot of action. A lot of it was focused on quarterbacks and quarterbacks underperforming. And I don't think we can start that conversation without talking about Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills last night, losing 22-16 to the New York Jets. Like you said, Aaron Rodgers probably out for the season with a torn Achilles. And that is one of the main reasons why this Bills game is so important to talk about at Josh Allen. You had zero reason to lose this game. Aaron Rodgers leaves after 4 snaps. That is incredibly deflating for a team that is relying so much on this quarterback to save their season and do everything for them. And then instead, you let this team come back into this game after being up 13-3. You give them all the momentum, and that was basically on Josh Allen, what he did in that second half. 4 turnovers, you had 3 interceptions, and a fumble. Clearly, this Jets team seems to have Josh Allen's number, because last year he had 2 interceptions against him, and he went out and he did even worse this go around. It was something that I don't really understand why. Josh Allen is an elite quarterback, but he continues to be this risk taker when he doesn't need to be. You even saw it with his running plays when he's going there, not sliding for some reason, trying to gain extra yards when he's at least 3 to 4 yards short of the line. I don't know why he needs to take these risks, and it's starting to cost this team. He's had 84 turnovers in his career now to this point, and 20 in his last 17 games. He's clearly making a habit out of this, and something needs to be corrected. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if Josh Allen just needs to figure it out that he can't be taking these risks. But that quarterback play, like Josh Allen said last night, was why they lost this game. He is now 0-5 in overtime games, and a lot of that has been on the decisions he's choosing to make. And I think this team will only go as far as Josh Allen takes them, because he is obviously the leader. And no one's saying he's not talented, but that's clearly why people are going to be upset and say this was a disappointment by him and the Bills. He needs to play better.
We've seen the best and worst of Josh Allen, I feel like, for a while now, and more so the worst for the last couple years. I understand that he had this very elite offseason 2 years ago when he threw 9 touchdowns, no picks, like one of the best postseason runs. Granted, it was 2 games. But Josh Allen has just been so careless with the ball recently, and it's disappointing for Buffalo fans, and I think fans of the NFL in general, because this league is ready to push Josh Allen as one of the faces. However, every time he's out there, and more recent than not, he has just been throwing picks, not sliding. You can see Sean McDermott is yelling at him at the sideline to be more careful and to care about your body.
It's a bad look.
You're the franchise of this team. You are expected to put this team on your back. And when there's questions now about the validity of this quarterback and how talented he is, can he actually get it done? We saw them be favorites last year and completely crap on that bed, and then now you see here the same thing is happening. No one's talking about the Bills because the same issues that Josh Allen has had for the last year and a half now are continuing once again. 4 turnovers is just an ugly, ugly start for the AFC East quarterback. I want to talk about another disappointing quarterbacks because we talk about elite quarterbacks. How about the one that just got paid the most money in the league in Joe Burrow? This Bengals team has had so much talk for years now. They've been to a Super Bowl, had a close game against the Rams, did not get it. Joe Burrow is elite. We have seen that happen. However, he was not elite on Sunday night. His worst game of his career. 14 for 31 with 82 yards. That is putrid for a quarterback that just got paid the amount of dough that he did. And that entire offense just looked flat on a game where it was rainy out, where they were clearly struggling. They did not run the ball at all, and instead they just relied on Joe to keep making throw after throw. No one is making catches. T. Higgins, who's in a contract year, is going to be looking for a big bag. No catches on 8 attempts. Jamar Chase looking pretty human out there, and a lot of that falls on Joe Burrow. He just did not look comfortable out there. But I don't think all the fault is just on him, because we've talked at droves. The conversation around the Bengals has been Joe Burrow is elite, but he can get hurt because there's no help from his O-line. 3 years in a row now, the Bengals have tried to get O-line help, and it is not helping at all. He made that Browns defense, I understand it's getting a lot of hype right now. It's not as good as people are saying. It's because the Bengals O-line is that poor. And I just think that this is a bad look for Joe Burrow on clearly his worst game of his career.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, when you pay somebody that kind of money, it's to make up for deficiencies on this team. You paid him to be the top quarterback in the league, to be just that, the top quarterback in the league. And I know there's other things he can't control always, but when you come out against a division rival, when you have Jamar Chase saying we're playing against a bunch of elves, and then backtracking after saying we just lost those elves, it's not a good look. You have a guy like Joe Burrow to overcome these things, and that's why you pay him to do that. Quite frankly, these fans are not looking for excuses. They went through decades of mediocrity. You finally got your guy, and he was supposed to come out and be the guy this go around, especially after you paid him and secured him to be your franchise quarterback. It's just not the right look for them, and we said it. Disappointing QB play from notable names, especially from guys you kind of are supposed to trust. You're supposed to think these are the reliable guys week in and week out. Those were the people who disappointed this week, which is very surprising, but I guess that's just week one in the NFL.
Absolutely, Zulfi. And you continue to talk about some bad quarterback play. Patrick Mahomes, one of the best players in the league, reigning MVP, did not have a good game against the Lions, though I put that more up to Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kirk Cousins, another disappointing game, disappointing outcome there for the Bucs. Baker Mayfield outplayed him. I don't think anyone would have said that going into this game in the offseason.
Baker Mayfield in his first games with a new team is something different for some reason.
Yeah.
It's very Fitzmagic-esque. I just think Baker Mayfield, game one with a new team, just bet on him every time.
Kenny Pickett, another name, disappointment for a lot of hype that the Steelers have been getting this offseason. Came out and threw an absolute egg against the Niners, who looked great, I might add.
49ers are special.
We've seen some good play, though, however, this week. It's not all bad. Brock Purdy played well. I know there's a lot of questions with Brock Purdy. If he can sustain this momentum from being Mr. Irrelevant, I think we can put that conversation to bed at this point.
Yeah, he's their quarterback.
Brock Purdy, he's their guy. They traded Trey Lance for a reason. So let's talk about some other good quarterbacks, Zulfi. Who do you have as a good quarterback play this week?
Here's a guy who I thought needed to come out this week and prove himself, and he did exactly that. This was Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers. They picked up the 38-20 win over the Chicago Bears, a division rival and a team that was super hyped based on the moves they made the offseason. They traded the number 1 overall pick for a receiver. They finally got Justin Field a weapon, and what did they do? They got completely blown out by this Packers defense and Jordan Love. Jordan Love had plenty of questions on him, and was he going to be able to succeed after Aaron Rodgers leaves? Was he that guy that they picked up and caused all this beef with Aaron Rodgers in the beginning? Was that worth it? And it looked like it was. This was Jordan Love's second career start versus Justin Field, who started over 20 games, and Jordan Love looked like the far better quarterback. He threw for 245 yards, 3 touchdowns. The completion percentage wasn't that great. It was around 55%. But for your first real game in the NFL against the Chicago Bears at home, I couldn't really ask for anything better. And the main thing I saw out of Jordan Love, he did it without much around him. Romeo Doubs looked fantastic, but he was playing with an injury. Christian Watson was out of this game. So you don't have the best receivers. You show up in those moments. You do it against a division rival, and you show you can be a leader on this team, which was the main thing for Jordan Love. And it's crazy to say that the Packers may have done it again, where they have another seamless transition between starting quarterbacks. And I was thoroughly impressed by Jordan Love and what he can do. I don't know if the questions are all answered yet. I think it may take a couple more games. But in terms of starting out and being able to answer any questions from doubters and say, is Jordan Love that guy or not? He's started the answer very well, and I don't think you could ask for anything else out of Jordan Love in this game.
To do that against a rival in the Chicago Bears as well, a much talked about Chicago Bears. We talked about bad quarterback play. Justin Fields, horrible game from him. He was just throwing picks and just did not look like the MVP candidate that people are talking about this year.
Yeah.
He was really not good. I'm a little shocked by how bad he actually came out being, because I like Fields. I think he's a very competent runner. He's electric. He just cannot throw the ball to the level that I think a lot of people are excited for him to do, and he just doesn't seem to be taking that next step. But I agree with you. Jordan Love was really surprising to me, and I say we shouldn't be surprised, because we saw this with Brett Favre going to Aaron Rodgers into this now. But yeah, they just continue to find these studs, and I think him sitting behind Rodgers all those years was ultimately a very good thing for his development.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk about another quarterback that I think is flying under the radar a little bit this year, and that's Matthew Stafford, because no one talked about this Ram team. This LA Rams team was dead in the water last year after winning their Super Bowl, putting all their chips in, won their chip as well, and then just seemed to coast last year. Cooper Kupp getting injured, did not play many games. Stafford with his phantom injury did not play the rest of the season as well. So a lot of question marks. I think a lot of people were just like, nah, they're not going to do anything. No, they bought their Super Bowl. They came out and completely dominated the Seattle Seahawks in that second half. After looking a little bit pedestrian in the first half, I think it's expected. Cooper Kupp is still on IR, so there's a lot of question marks with there, but he came out there and just looked like the Matthew Stafford that we all know and love. There was 426 yards of offense in this game. 334 of that was from Stafford, who did not throw a touchdown, but was 24 of 38. That's 63%. That's really good. 11 of 17 on third downs. This is something that Stafford has been doing very poorly recently, especially last year. He was not getting any momentum on third downs. He came out there and looked great. And the big thing about this, Matthew Stafford was doing this with receivers that were not Cooper Kupp. Forget that Cooper Kupp is his favorite target.
Oh, yeah.
When you watch these games, he is targeting him 13, 14, 15 times a game. Instead, he's finally looks like he's sharing the rock. And you have these receivers, and Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell, both having 119 yards on the day, which is really refreshing to watch, especially as an Allen Robinson owner last year in fantasy, seeing Stafford just straight up ignore him. It's good to see Stafford grow in his older years. And you know what? I'm not counting this Rams team out yet. Their division is pretty easy. It's not looking like it's going to be a steamroll. They're not going to lie over for any team. I'm impressed with the Rams.
Yeah, I think you said it at the end there. I don't know if this Rams team is a contender per se, but they will be a spoiler, especially within the division. They're not going to be an easy out. You know what this defense has the potential to do, especially with a guy like Aaron Donald, who reminded everyone that he is the best defensive player of this generation. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's still scary. Just ask Geno Smith in that soundbite when he yelled, "Oh my God." I think I would have done the same thing if Aaron Donald was running at me. So that defense is legit. And then you have, like you said, Matthew Stafford reminding people why they won that Super Bowl the first year they got him. He's reliable. He knows what he's doing, and he's smart, especially when he's sharing the ball. Then Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua, if you bet on them to be good receivers, go buy a lottery ticket. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No.
And I think it just says that we expected all this kind of impressive performances out of our star names and the guys you kind of expect to hear from, and you didn't get it, but you did get it from some other quarterbacks. So week one is so interesting because you're never going to be able to predict it. You're never going to know what's going to happen. If I told you that Matthew Stafford and Jordan Love were outperforming guys like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, you would have told me I'm crazy. But that's exactly what happened this week, and that just speaks to what an NFL is at the start of the season.
Any other quarterbacks that surprised you quickly?
I think Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't say surprised me, but his connection with Calvin Ridley was incredible. I think that was more Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence, but just seeing that he finally is the number one guy, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, great in the red zone, I think is so exciting for that team. And I'm going to talk about your boy Mac Jones a bit. I wouldn't say he's kind of proved himself yet. I think the jury's a bit out. That team is not about moral victories, but Mac Jones showing that he can compete at that level with those guys, I think is super important to say, and just give him the respect for that.
This is a do or die year for Mac Jones. So to see him come out and look good against the reigning NFC champions, and to really, that whole team, the defense looked great too, but Mac Jones in particular, in a week of really mediocre quarterback play, from a quarterback who's been mediocre for the last couple of years to come out and look great, I think is a good boost of confidence for this Patriots team.
Yeah, look, we're not breaking any news here. Quarterbacks are important, and when they don't play well, your team probably doesn't do that well either. But it's important to know that things can evolve. It's only week one. People often say week one is a liar, so we'll see what happens with these teams. We don't want to overreact. We might overreact a little bit later, but there was also some quarterbacks who killed it, especially in terms of fantasy. Fantasy owners don't want to hear any excuses. They just want results, and here are some guys who had some incredible results. This is the Fantasy Report with Carter Smith.
Thanks, Zulfi. This was a crazy week in fantasy football. We're going to take a look at the Redzone Rewind Fantasy Dream Team. QB1, Tua Tagovailoa.
By Tyreek Hill. The Chargers only rush 3. Tua steps up in the pocket, and he sees Tyreek Hill one-on-one on that right. And Braxton Berrios sticking with Tua as he gets to the outside. Look at the placement of that football.
RB1, Aaron Jones.
Love to Aaron Jones. He walks in. 4-man rush. Love has Jones in stride. Aaron Jones racing to the end zone, and he's in. Touch.
RB2, Austin Eckler.
Kitty is the fullback. He's a tight end. 3rd and goal. Eckler. McKinney the block. Touchdown. Chargers. Herbert. Eckler. Oh, he's got the big hole. Into the secondary. Look at him run. Chase downfield. Holland gets him.
WR1, Tyreek Hill.
with the best beginning field position, 35 of LA. He's got Whoa! That's a touchdown! Yard, catch and run, first down.
Well, this is the risk you take when you go man-to-man against this Dolphins team. The motion by Tyreek Hill.
WR2, Brandon Ayuk.
First down and goal. Play action. Purdy looking end zone. Lets it rip, and he's got a touchdown to Brandon Ayuk. 2nd and 12. Back to the air. Purdy looking end zone. Brandon Ayuk.
Tight end, Hunter Henry.
Area of improvement needed. 2nd and goal. As Jones goes to the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown.
Get the time to wait on the route.
What a catch. That pass was almost out of reach for Henry.
Flex, Jacoby Myers.
Gives plenty of time left. He'll take the snap. Looking left. Throwing left. Passes complete left. Jacoby Myers in his first year with the Raiders.
Catches the ball, the little lunge into the end zone to make sure that he squeezes it and gets in.
Defense, the Dallas Cowboys.
Veteran, 36 years old. Great through by Thomas, who blocked it. And Igbenogany has it for Dallas. Noah Igbenogany stays in bounds, and the Cowboys special teams gets the first score of the year. 3rd and 19. Jones gets down Barkley. Got hit, fumbled right in the air, and it flies into the hands for a touchdown at the Rob Land.
Kicker, Nick Folk / Jake Elliott.
Attempt for Nick Folk for his 4th made field goal of the afternoon.
Elliott. Is it enough? Yes, it is.
Wraps up this week's Dream Team. Over to Mike Jose Collins, sitting at the table.
Welcome to the table, brought to you by Redzone Rewind. I'm Mike Jose Collins. Let's eat. With week 1 in the books, why don't we take a look at some of my overreaction picks for the rest of the season. The Cowboys or the San Francisco 49ers to make the Super Bowl? If you really wanted to make those, why not? Those teams look absolutely incredible. Let's go to Thursday night where the Eagles take on the Vikings. Last year, this game was an absolute blow-up by the Eagles. And the Eagles, in their first game against the New England Patriots, really looked like they were struggling to cover the middle of the field. So I expect a big, high-scoring game. My lock for the week and my favorite bet of this game, the over. That is correct. No Jacoby Dean and some linebacker issues for the Eagles. It doesn't look too satisfying. If you guys want to hammer any single prop in this game, feel free. I think those are going to hit the most. Any touchdown score. TJ Hawkinson, I expect to have a massive game in this one. The Eagles are favored right now at 7.5 points. I would not touch that line, but if you guys feel so inclined to do so, I would tease that up to maybe a double-digit win. You can probably get a lot more juice for that one. Let's go to Sunday night where the New England Patriots will face the Miami Dolphins. Miami looked absolutely spectacular on offense, and their defense struggled a bit. And it goes the same way, except reverse way, for the New England Patriots. A great defense. But, you know, I kind of believe in Mac Jones, so I am hammering the over in this game. One of my favorite bets of the weekend, 47.5 is what I got it at. Mac Jones throws 54 times, completing 35 passes. I don't know if that was necessarily in the game plan, but the fact that he put that on his back and basically was the reason that that team almost came back. I kind of believe in Mac Jones this year. I see this game almost as a pick'em, so if you guys want the money line on either team, hit that. I would not touch the spread. It seems to be going in the way of the Dolphins. I got that one at 114. If that moves anywhere past 150, I would not touch it. Why don't we go to Monday night games? Both of these, some dreadful, dreadful football. I have no idea why they scheduled these. We've got the Carolina Panthers versus the New Orleans Saints. Absolutely nobody impressed me in either of these two opening games. I like Carolina at +3. Honestly, I don't even know if there's any reason to watch this if you don't have any skin in this game. Let's go to the other game of the doubleheader, Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. The Steelers host the Browns. I thought this would be a Steelers favorite, but right now the line seems to be moving in favor of the Browns, so I expect Pittsburgh to cover. Right now it's at 2.5. If that line keeps moving, I mean, you can just wait all the way up until Monday night, and it's probably going to go that way, so hammer those. Basically, that's all I got for you guys. If you guys want all our 1 p.m. schedule games or the 4:25 ones, those will all be up on our Twitter. Follow me, Mike Jose Collins. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, now it is time for the 2-minute warning. This is where two of us get 2 minutes to let off two of our strongest takes for this year. So I want to start off week 1. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock. Let's say, Mike, what is your overreaction from week 1?
Listen, I was clamoring for this last year. I know it's probably never going to happen, but I truly believe that Tyreek Hill will be this year's MVP. That's right, a wide receiver over a quarterback. You saw it in week 1. He just went absolutely crazy beans, and let's believe as long as Tua stays healthy, I think Tyreek Hill can have a phenomenal season. I thought he deserved it last year. I understand that, it's a quarterback award now, offensive player, they give that whole thing, but I don't want to hear that ever again. Tyreek Hill is my MVP.
Like, him doing this as like a 5'8" wide receiver makes no sense, but the fact that he doesn't need to be catching 50-50 balls because he's just running past everyone and getting in the end zone, so I don't hate it.
I thought when, he leaves Kansas City, they were going to see a different version of Tyreek Hill, maybe somebody who wasn't that great, but he is truly coming into his own now that the ball is not going also to Kelsey. It's also going to Jalen Waddle. I mean, who knew? Doesn't even matter. Tyreek Hill's still the man.
Tyreek Hill is the man. And then another team that I want to talk about. Look, this isn't a hot take, but let's say it's a bit of an overreaction. I'm ready to crown the 49ers the NFC champions. That team is so legit. Kyle Shanahan as a quarterback that's reliable. He's going to be out there not making bad decisions. He's going to be game managing. But he also has Christian McCaffrey. And you want to know something? While Christian McCaffrey plays, this 49ers team is 11-0. They haven't lost with C-Mac yet. So I'm ready to say they're the best team in the NFC. I don't think it's crazy to say. And this 49ers defense, what they ended up doing against the Steelers in week 1 was phenomenal. Steelers talked a lot of smack going into that game, saying you have to play preseason. Preseason matters. You got to spar before you can box. Well, the 49ers came in there and they knocked you out, Pittsburgh, and they did it at your house. That was the first time the 49ers beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh since 1996.
Jeez.
This team is legit, and they are ready to tell people that when we're healthy, when our quarterback stays, when we don't have to play 3 different quarterbacks in the season, we are going to be a really good team. I want to see the 49ers take on the Eagles in a rematch, and I want them to prove and show everyone why they probably would have won that game if they didn't go through those injuries. This 49ers team is for real.
Yeah, I like it. Brock Purdy, undefeated in games that he isn't injured. Good for him.
Yeah, crazy how that works, right? Well, that does it for our 2-minute warning and for the show. This was the Red Zone Rewind with Mike, Zulfi, Carter, and Jake. Thanks for watching.